on, guys? Leaman Griffin here, coming at you with another edition of Scale Adventures Project Wraith. We are on part 5 of this build. Just want to take a second. I don't know if you guys saw my recent video. Had an incredible weekend. We went out and did some speed runs with a buddy of mine, Gentry Palmer, and got some ridiculous footage. He crashed his car into his leg and flipped himself over, landed on his head. It was intense. If you guys haven't seen the video, check it out. I'll put a link in the description. It's pretty crazy. One of the worst RC car wrecks that I've seen. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but sometimes I get lost on YouTube. So I've seen a lot of videos of car wrecks. But anyway, back to Project Wraith. Got my 2.2 wheels in the other day. Mail came, they were here. I was out working when they came. I would have shown you guys mounting them, but that would take a long time, and I don't think there's enough free SD memory card space in this entire world to film what a challenge it is to put the RC four-wheel drive wheels on any 2.2 tire. So much less a large one like this. But I got it mounted, got no issues. Ran it just a little bit. I've got some electronics already in it. Wanted to show you guys. I went ahead and mounted my speed controller up front here. I've got the Axial AE2 speed controller. So I mounted that up front. Under the hood, I've got a switch. Put my on-off switch right here. You guys can see it right there. So I can toggle on-off without taking the hood off of the car. That's a nice little addition there. I got my interior in the car, and I added this little feature. Check this bad boy out. Little light bar. I took a piece of bent aluminum and screwed it into my top mounts where my roof panel will go on. And it's all going to be wired up. Matter of fact, I got a little 3-cell battery. I'll show you guys. What is that thing? 11.1 volts, so it's a little more than that whenever it's charged. This thing is pretty bright. I'm pretty happy with it. What do you guys think? Bright enough for you? Should be pretty. Oh yeah, that's nice and bright. A little close up there. But anyway, yeah, light bar. Kind of tucked and hidden. It'll look real good whenever I get all the panels on. And actually, that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Now that I've got most of the electronics in the car, it is in a running state. I can put a battery to it and it'll go. I still got some tidying to do on the electronics, but we're going to go ahead and throw the body panels on this. I'm thinking about chopping up the back of this. I know everybody does the Wraith different. Some people bend these bars down, some people cut it off, put some axle links in here to make like a hatchback or a slant back look. I'm thinking about twisting this whole thing up and making it look more like a buggy or like a rock bouncer. Doing kind of away with this whole back end and bringing it all down to a point and having the shocks mount to the point. So we're going to play around with that a little bit, but not sure the direction I'm going to go on that. But let's go ahead and get these body panels mounted. So I've got a few things I'm going to mount here. I'm just going to be using some stock Wraith body panels. I've got one of my LG Fab skid plates that we're going to, buddy mine Paul had this on his Wraith, and they're hard to find nowadays. There's a few of them in a local hobby shop, but we're going to see if we can't get back into this. But I'm going to mount it underneath here, just to protect, you know, standard chassis skid plate. So let's go ahead, first things first, and let's get these side panels mounted. Just go right here, just like that. Let me bust out my screws real quick. There they go. Let's see if we can move that back just a little bit. These screws are real tedious because they're a 0.5 millimeter, so they're a little bit hard to keep mounted. I don't know what the deal with them is, but the heads round out on them real easy. So, and I've got some stainless steel screws from K&K that I'm going to be using when I get everything figured out, but for now I just want to get the car together. So I'm going to use these. What I want to do is get it all together, and then once I realize where I'm going to trim and what I'm going to change about the car, then I'll come back in and do everything one final time in the K&K stuff. folks. I got some new parts coming in. I've got a set of HR diff lockers for the front and back that should be here sometime early next week. So those are I'll show you guys how to install those. That's a must upgrade for any Wraith, really any crawler, SCX10 or Wraith. They use those axial diff lockers, and they're not bad, but the problem is they're pot metal. And if you look at it, it looks like an iron cross, and it just has two little tabs that stick out of it, and they really don't do anything as far as protecting the car, or not protecting the car. They don't do anything as far as, you know, locking the diff. I mean, if you put any sort of stress on them whatsoever, they're going to give away. And I understand why they did that. You know, it's kind of like your spur gear being plastic. It's, you know, it's a point of weakness where it's a couple bucks to replace, and if something goes wrong, it's going to go wrong right there, so you don't have to worry about ruining a major component of your car. But still, like I talked about in the earlier edition here, it's all about transferring 100% of the power to the ground at all times. If you break it, it's not built strong enough. So once you break it once, build it right so you don't have to break it again. That's my philosophy. You can start out with plastic, but you need to end with metal. I'm going to copyright that, if I can. We'll see. They say you can copyright anything. Alright, two more screws here in the back. I think I got them. There's one. And then we're going to go ahead and get that skid plate mounted up. Alright, get this last screw on here. And now we got our LG Fab skid plate. Looking real good on the Wraith. Alright, let's see here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to leave the hood off. I've got these 4 mounting screws with some body clips that holds the hood in. But since I'm still not done tinkering with the electronics, I'm going to leave that off. I'm going to go ahead and mount the roof here. Alright, I got my roof panel on here. We're going to go ahead now and solder up some extension leads for my light bar. I'm going to wire it directly to my battery leads for my receiver. I was going to get another battery. I'm still eventually going to. I'm going to get a small 3-cell to put in there so I can run it off of 11 volts. It's safe up to, I think, 15 volts, so it's made for 12 volt application. But for now, I tried to plug it into my receiver pack on my 3rd channel, but I don't have a BEC on there. And, you know, standard receiver, I think, is 5.5 volts, so it wasn't enough to actually turn it on. But I have tested it on 7 volts, and it's enough. It's just not as bright. But we're going to do that for now. So let's go ahead and solder these leads on here. Just doing a quick solder job. And then I'm going to tape it up. I'm going to wire it to the other side. So when I plug in my battery, they will always be on, which is fine because they're small LEDs and they're not going to pull a lot of power. So I'm not too worried about it, you know, reducing my runtime. Let's see here. I'm going to feed it through here. I'll get all this zip tied up here as soon as I'm done. Just want to get all the locations right and fed. Wrap that around there. Just touch of that. Definitely recommend, I don't know how you guys do your wire joints normally, but definitely if you're going to do anything that you want to last, solder it. There's no reason you shouldn't solder. Solder guns are so inexpensive, and it's such a strong joint that, I mean, if you've taped things in the past, you can tell and you'll know that it doesn't hold up very well at all. The tape slips off. I mean, you always got problems with tape joints. Solder joints, you'll never have a problem with. They're going to hold up just fine. They're going to last a long time. They're durable. You're going to get a good solid connection where you'll be able to transfer voltage well. With tape connections, if you get a bad wrap job, what will happen is you won't have good contact surface, so you won't get a good voltage transfer. You'll have the correct voltage, but you won't have the correct amperage. And I'm not even going to get into explaining you guys the difference and why you need amperage just as much as voltage. I'll let you Google that, or Wikipedia, or whatever you use for your learnings, your internet learnings. Anyway, get that thing hot. So we got the joint soldered up. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug my soldering gun. I left this thing unplugged all night the other day. That was definitely not good. So, got that done. Let me, actually, you know what, let me tape this up. I want to plug it in just to test it, but I don't want to risk any arc. I'm just going to throw a small piece of tape around this. Just to keep it safe. For now, I'm just going to do the negative. Positive won't touch anything. I'm just concerned about the two joints being right there beside each other, but I'll tape everything up in just a second. I'm a professional taper, as you can tell. I work tirelessly to perfect my craft. Alright. Let's plug up a LiPo. Oh, can't plug it up backwards. God bless a Dean's plug. Alright, so as you can see, got a light bar. It's not that bright, but it's going to do the job. It works just fine. And now we can see. Unplug that. And I'm going to get everything wrapped up. I'm going to go ahead and get the battery mounted under the hood, get the hood on this thing, and let you guys see it in its final form. And maybe we'll take it out and do some crawling. Alright, she lives. Get these final body clips on. Got the hood on. Starting to look like an actual Wraith. Axial Wraith and actual Wraith. Alright, there you go, guys. All done. Lights are on. Looks pretty mean. Can't wait to get those HR lockers in so we can install them. LG Fab skid plate. Hope you guys enjoyed part 5 of the Project Wraith build. I'm going to keep going. Even though the Wraith is done, I'm going to keep going with this project as I do upgrades and things like that on it. So stay tuned, subscribe. I got more videos coming. I hope you guys enjoy.